It was an angry and emotional tunnel at full time from a West Ham perspective. Do you feel wronged?
Yeah, due to the circumstances of the game, the way the game finished, we were all upset, of course.
Yeah, what did you make of it?
Look, I didn't pay attention to the replay, just to not get more upset and avoiding. But look, there's a referee, there's VAR, there's circumstances in the past that have been judged different. So let's not go much further than that.
Yeah, fine. Jarrod Bowen has been in for his interview and talked about a situation with corners where there's wrestling every corner, there's arms across goalkeepers and defenders every corner, every week, every game. I think his point was really why is it suddenly being enforced?
Yeah, it's what I said. Due to the recent seasons, this been happening, and even the referees don't know what is a foul, what is not a foul. So it creates a lot of doubts and speculation around it.
Yeah. And of course, for you guys, it's the consequences of that decision. It could be huge. Takes a point off you.
Yeah, but let's look at the game overall. I think before we have a good chance, we made a very good match. The attitude, the character, the belief, how we play, how the boys went for it. We create situations. We try to control Arsenal. It's a tough team. Overall, a very good performance that in the end doesn't come away to result that we expected and we wanted and we needed. We wanted to win the game. We lost the game. Finish.
More and more after a tough, what would you say, first 20 or so minutes, did you grow into the match and start to make it your kind of game?
Yeah, I think so. It was about being pragmatic in the beginning of the game, realizing that how to exploit some weaknesses with our wing backs. We achieved many times, but I think the defense, exception to the goal, to the set piece situation, we didn't allow too much to Arsenal. So look, tough team that we play against. The stadium was amazing. The noise, the energy, we cannot thank them enough. To our fans, and it's our responsibility to once again bounce back and go for the last two games. But fighting till the last second.
What did the three at the back give you? Because often people will see that and think, well, an extra defender, you're going to sit in and defend, but it's obviously not as simple as that. It releases other players, for example.
Yeah, I think was the idea to try and press with our wing backs high and create a higher line in our defensive line, and I think the three boys behind did an amazing job.
So that mission to stay in the league, if you can play like that for two more games, still alive, still possible?
We are on it. It's our obligation, the responsibility of defending a big club like West Ham. We have to go to the last. Anything can happen.
All eyes on Tottenham tomorrow? I think you watch every game anyway.
We watch every game. Let's see what happens. But up to us now to rest and prepare well. Newcastle, like I said before, anything can happen.
Thanks, Nuno.
Cheers, Padre.
Thank you.
Just a question on the formation and tactics that they used today. Yeah. They have got a lot of success playing four at the back in recent weeks. They did do the 3 or the 5 against Manchester City, and that brought them a point. And yes, it was 4 at the back against Brentford last week. But did you think as the game went on, that actually there was a chance they could actually get 2 strikers on, Pablo and Castellanos? Instead, Pablo replaced Castellanos with Somerville and Bowen and go with that attacking 4, which has been quite successful for them.
No, I think it'd be incorrect of me to question that, because if he scores, Fernandes, it's a tactical masterclass. That's the difference, and he went like for like, and they stayed in the game because he's probably thinking also a point wouldn't have been the worst result today. It puts a little bit of pressure on Tottenham. So, no, I think he got it right. I think the wing-backs were good. I think the back three, I thought Mavropanos, again, was magnificent. The amount of defending he did, both boxes, heading it, clearing it for his own team. I thought he was excellent. I'd like to have seen a little bit more of Jarrod, if I'm honest, and some of who had some moments. But I think all in all, we'd looked at that and thought to be in the game as late as what they were and just wait for that one moment, like the boys say, if Fernandes scores, then they'll probably end up winning the game, So, no, I didn't think he got it wrong today.
Do you have any questions on that?
No, I'd agree. No, I think the team shape and especially the wing-backs getting them up the pitch, yeah, obviously they lack quality and you still look at 1 or 2 of your star players to turn up, but they're down near the bottom for a reason. They're obviously lacking confidence and, again, a lot of defeats. But then you hope, I think the manager's smart when he walk up, the system we have, whatever, if we get that one opportunity, which you kind of always kind of do in a game of football, no matter how bad you can be, and that was the big moment. Yeah. We could be here till the cows come home. But when you get that chance, the manager and the staff will know that. And Fernandes, if he takes that, then everything else in terms of the shape and the tactics would be spot on. Yeah. So I wouldn't be too critical. I thought they stayed in the game, a bit of quality, a couple of decisions that went against them, and they had a big chance. And the reason they're near the bottom is they don't take enough of them chances.
Yeah, and they absolutely did stay in the game. Arsenal had scored 11 goals here in the last 2 visits, and it was only one that they managed against West Ham today. But it's no consolation to them because it's looking pretty bleak down there. 2 games to go for West Ham United. They can get to a maximum 42. So Leeds, Forest, Palace all safe now. It's just West Ham or Spurs. I'm breaking it down. Spurs have got a game in hand, which starts against Leeds tomorrow. But with that 1 point advantage, with an 11-goal difference advantage on West Ham as well. They know that matching West Ham's points from this way in is going to be absolutely fine. 5 is the maximum they needed, a win and 2 draws right now. It might not be as many as that. West Ham, in effect, have to be 2 points better than Spurs over this final stretch of the season. How do you see it, Ian?
You know, I think I didn't think Spurs were going to make it until I saw them play against Villa the other day, and they were unbelievable, especially the midfield in Palhinha and Gallagher. And I think just off of that performance alone, if they can replicate that, then I think they'll be all right. I think that West Ham's problem is, like Roy said, obviously they've lost a lot of games, but I think the Brentford game, where they were very unlucky as well, hit the post a couple of times, hit the bar. And I think that's the game they should have focused this kind of energy on, because then this game would have been like a luxury game for them. They needed to win the Brentford game, and I think they missed that one. And then in the end, Brentford ran away winners. And we saw that they've got the fight and the capability of taking Arsenal all the way to the end. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. But I think that's just the way it goes, I think.
Does it feel too late for them, Roy, after 14 seasons in the Premier League?
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? And obviously the manager showed a bit of class after the game there. And it's hard to front up when you've been beaten. It's a big loss for the club. Yeah, but they are certainly up against it. And especially now with Spurs at home tomorrow to Leeds. Leeds being confirmed that they're staying up. You know, again, you're not going to be dismissing their efforts. But how will Leeds kind of turn up tomorrow? They'll be will they be almost celebrating today the fact they've stayed up and they've got to turn up to Tottenham tomorrow? No, they'll be professional and obviously got a very good manager. But yeah, it does look pretty good for Spurs now.
Yeah.
Certainly blowing a mighty sigh of relief, aren't they, Spurs, from here?
Yeah, they are. But you'll also, Spurs fans won't be getting too excited just yet because their home form this season has been disgusting.
Haven't won at home since December. That gives West Ham a bit of hope.
Oh, it does, but I do believe with De Zerbi, and it feels like he's giving them a bit of energy, a bit of impetus in midfield. You know, like you said there, right? You know, Benson Kerr as well in there with Paulina and Gallagher. They've sort of fallen on a way of playing. You know, Danso's done well at the back with Van der Ven, but pressure can do crazy things, so you don't know. But right now, I think Tottenham will be looking.
And David got a big lift today watching that. Of course, it goes the other way. Walks both ways.
They're all Tottenham fans, but it's a big moment for them. It's got to get 2 wins.
Well, Jared, let's start with the equaliser that wasn't. Do you feel incredibly hard done by?
I'd like to see, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you could go about answering this question. Is because we're on the receiving end of it, we're going to feel more hard done by. But, you know, football is a sport that brings, you know, enjoyment, fans together and gives people big moments. We had our big moment then before we got back into the game. Look at something for 5 minutes, trying to find something which, I get goalkeepers are protected more than outfield players. There's lots of, you know, holding and grappling that goes on in the box. Are you going to look at those every single time and give a penalty? Because that's the only way that is the right way to do it. You've got to give. Like I said, I get that the goalkeepers, you can't go and wipe a goalkeeper out and, you know, there's arms there, but the keeper's come in to try and grab the ball. He's got to be seen, not as an outfield player, but he's got to expect contact. You know, it's a corner kick, it's physical, it's the Premier League. There's going to be contact, there's going to be, you know, tussles and what have you. Obviously, we're on the receiving end of it, so we feel more hard done by, but we had one at Brentford last week where Thomas Souček got pulled at the back post, got dragged down, didn't get a penalty. So I'm just saying as a consistency level, you know, VAR is here to stay, we know that. But I just think that the decisions, like I said, if you look at something for 5 minutes, and I'm going to sound bitter and people are going to think I sound bitter, but I think I'm just being honest, that if you look at something for long enough, you'll find something to give. And I think that was what happened in the end.
They have lost the game. They've got 2 to play. Spurs, of course, playing the Monday night football, and I have to tell you as well that, as we knew anyway with those points totals realistically, but mathematically now Nottingham Forest and Leeds are safe and are guaranteed to be in the Premier League next season. So that one remaining relegation spot will either be West Ham United on 36 points or Spurs, currently on 37 points, who of course have that game in hand against Leeds United in the Monday night football, with an opportunity to win that and go 4 clear of West Ham. Remember, West Ham got to go to Newcastle and play Leeds themselves here on the final day. I mean, can West Ham survive from here? Can you see a scenario, Kev?
They've got to believe it. It doesn't matter now. What they've got to do is they've got to hope, all of them now pray a bit that, Leeds can go to Tottenham tomorrow and get a result. Because that's what they and then they're still within a chance, and then they've got to win.
Chelsea away is always a big game for Tottenham, whatever the
of course, and Chelsea are on it. Obviously, they're having a bit of a tough time, so they're going to want to change their fortunes around, especially at home as well. So they've got to believe West Ham, that they can go to Newcastle on Sunday, they can get a result, which has got to be 3 points now. Can't be 1 point, I don't believe. I think they've got to get 6 points in the next 2 games, and hope that Tottenham do what they've done all season long and stutter, and they have done that. They've been better under the Zerbi, but they haven't been great, and it was a weakened Aston Villa side last week. So what they've got to do is hope that Leeds can stay in the form what they've been in over the last couple of weeks and get the result which is going to help them go into the last 2 games with an opportunity and a chance to stay in the Prem.
I know you said earlier on, when you're down there, you've just got to forget what's gone on, but how difficult will it be for those West Ham players to forget about that goal being ruled out, even ahead of these last 2 games of the season?
I mean, they'll be talking about it tonight, maybe tomorrow in the meetings, I'm sure that. However, you can't affect it now. What you can do, if they perform like that, they're going to have a chance. I mean, of course, they're going to have to, other teams to do them a favour. But they performed really well tonight, and they've got to take credit from that, because they really kept Arsenal until the last few minutes. It's not, straight shootout still. So, like, Kev says there, they have to believe, because it's all good and well pointing fingers at each other. We could have done this. However, it's now about everyone's got to stick together, and we have to be a team. And that's just not just the players, that's the staff, that's the environment around, and try and create a positive environment, because essentially that's all they can do. And it's going to be tough for them. But look, it's you never know. It's Premier League, things happen, moments.
It could be massively advantage Tottenham. It is an opportunity for them. Yes, they have been better under Zerbi, but 2 of those 3 games are at home. They've only won 2 home games all season at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
If you would have told Tottenham fans that before the season, they would have laughed. 2 home wins in the best stadium in the country. I mean, it's beyond ridiculous. They've had the most bizarre season.
If they find 2 now, they'll be safe in the Premier League, won't they? So
look, so many weird things have happened this season. The one thing I would say in West Ham's favour, with Jared Bowen and Somerville, they've got some great players at the top of the pitch, can make something happen.
And your man Fernandes
was wow. I mean, he'll be a top 4 player next season. That is for sure. I think for Tottenham, having somebody like, De Zerbi's just going to simplify it. He's a brilliant tactician, but this isn't time for tactics. This is time to get it forward, simplify it. And I thought he did that the other day, and I think they'll continue to do that, just find a way to get a result.
But there's no doubt that is a boost for Spurs going into
massive.
tomorrow.
It's massive for them, yeah. And they'll be sitting there today. They probably didn't want anyone to win, as our friend behind told us earlier on. So, but I think it's probably the way they wanted it. If they were going to have one team win it today, they want to be in the Premier League next year, no matter what. I think they'll just have to suffer if Arsenal win the league now. That's something they're going to have to do. But as Owen said, it's ridiculous to think that to 2 home wins, for Tottenham, where they've been is incredible. But they've got it's in their hands now. What they have got is a lot of injuries. Can they overcome them? Can they find the right results tomorrow evening? And if they can, give themselves a great opportunity of relegating West Ham and keeping themselves in the Prem.
Indeed. OK.
Tottenham Hotspur, I'm sure, will be looking on with interest in this game. The Mail on Sunday, piece by James Sharp, he talks about Spurs' big dilemma. I'm sure a lot of football fans have been in this position, but as far as Tottenham Hotspur are concerned, their big rivals to beat the drop are West Ham United, and their biggest rivals are Arsenal and they don't want them to win the league. So do they want Arsenal or West Ham to win today, says James Sharp. An Arsenal victory enhances Spurs' hopes of staying up and offers a chance to open a 4-point gap on their relegation rivals with a win over Leeds. But in doing so, all but hands their arch nemesis the Premier League crown. Oh, to be a Tottenham Hotspur fan just now.
Surely they don't want Arsenal to win today, but it would mean so much more to them being a Tottenham fan, for them to stay in the Premier League and what that means for them going forward, than to see their arch rivals lift the Premier League trophy again. They've seen them do it in the past. I'm sure they'll get over it if it happens. But I just think what it means for Tottenham to stay in the Premier League is absolutely massive, like for the future of the club, in terms of like the manager, the players, the revenue, like the stadium, that stadium in the Championship, everything about them going down to the Championship. Surely you've got to put everything aside, and the only thing you want is for your team to stay in the top flight. As much as it will pain them, if it does happen, to see Arsenal lift that trophy on the final day of the season, it's better than the alternative, which is seeing their team down in the second tier.
Has it almost helped them that they're in this relegation fight, because they can kind of focus and have that relief if they stay up, and then maybe just mentally forget about what's happening down the road?
If that's a necessary coping mechanism, maybe. I think anyone who's having a serious conversation about Spurs at the moment, I think they know that they're existing on a different atmospheric plane to Arsenal right now. Arsenal's, whether they win or lose, is really trivial in the context of Tottenham's problems. But I think Tottenham have probably got moderate reasons for some excitement right now, if that's not the wrong term. There does seem to have been an improvement with De Zerbi. It's obviously an absolutely massive game against Leeds, but I think when you go back, there have been signs of it building up there since the last managerial change, the latest managerial change. I thought. Man City away, so they just need to focus on what they've got on their own business right now. I don't think they've ever been further, or they literally haven't been further removed from the title race by league position. So I think that would be the pressing priority there.
Just unfortunate. It's sort of how strange that this dilemma has come back 2 years after they played Man City, ended the season, and many of their fans wanted their team to lose. The sort of emotional turmoil of being a Spurs fan in the past 3 years, of watching your team and your rivals and all the usual rules about who you want to win are kind of going out the window on a repeated basis, which is certainly unfortunate.
Brilliant stuff, Sam, Charlotte, Riyadh, don't go anywhere. Time for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see how the Sunday papers